You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, Episode 1, the Savage Dragon miniseries number 1 and number 2.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
This is the FINcast Retro show. Baby, we're doing it different this time. We got, unlike our interviews and our normal reviews of current issues, we're going to be taking a look at past issues of Savage Dragon and Savage Dragon-related series in the chronological order which they were published. We won't be going in-depth, page by page, as we do with the brand new monthly issue releases. Instead, we're going to summarize, give our general impressions, and final thoughts. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
And I'm Craig Olson.
And fellas, I guess it's for all intents and purposes an all meat and potatoes. Let's go. Let's dive into it. What do we got on the docket today?
I'm excited.
For our very first retro cast, I thought we would, like you said, we were going to start at the beginning.
Yes.
With the Savage Dragon miniseries number 1 and number 2 for this very first episode. I think that would be the best place to start, the beginning. Mm-hmm. In the past, we've kind of jumped around. We've done some retro reviews in the past. Primarily, we've been focusing on issues that we like or care about. But this time, we're going to go from the beginning into the future. 245. Actually, I guess we only got to do 174 of these. So, not that many. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get it. It's the bat of an eye. The bat of an eye.
And like also you mentioned, we're going to also do important spin-offs and notable related titles. So we're going to cover Super Patriot. We're going to cover Wildstar, Vanguard. We're already reviewing the Ninja Turtle series, but that would have been in the future anyway.
Bone Cerebus.
I don't think they're as important. Their cameos made it. I don't think their series are as important, so I don't think we'll be covering Bone or Cerebus.
Okay. Good call.
Mars Attacks.
Yes, when we get to it, I think doing Mars Attacks Image and even Savage Dragon versus Mars Attacks Savage Dragon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it.
Destroyer Duck.
We're gonna be here for it. Get ready.
Yeah, I'm hyped, man. I for one, I can't really. I haven't been allowed to live a normal life since we started this show. From all the letters that poured through my front door, Harry Potter 1 style, from all the fans dying for us to cover these issues, maybe at long last the mail can subside and the masses will be happy.
I'm sure they'll ask for something else next.
Mm-hmm. I think I have the Savage Dragon miniseries in more formats than any other comic I own.
Spill it.
Well, you got the original mini, you got the 5-issue 99-cent reprints that came out in, I think 5 years after that. You got the trade paperback, I got the hardcover, I got the archive edition in black and white. It's just
Don't you have the CD-ROM?
The CD, yeah, I do. I do. Yeah. The Savage Dragon CD-ROM. I didn't even I forgot all about that. I think the only thing I don't have it on is like Comixology or whatever.
Fake fan. Oh no!
But I think it's important to note though. I think we're gonna look at the original mini, so like the no frills issues 1 through 3.
Yep, as originally published. We'll talk about the reprint later, but we're we're going to cover as...
So, for the fans that might have, picked up the reprint or the trade has a few extra things in it, and you might notice we're missing something in your eyes, but this is just the first 3. The trade, Erik went back and added stuff, and then he added stuff in the 5-issue reprint that wasn't in the original mini, and we'll talk, like Jim said, we'll talk about that.
Probably next episode.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we're hitting these bad boys, like I said. As they hit the hands of the fans, that's how we'll be looking at them, too.
Sweet.
So who's ready for some intense action?
From
Larsen.
From Erik Larsen. So this, just right off the bat, this cover is kind of... Oh, we should talk about the issue real quick. So, yeah, this is the first issue of Savage Dragon. So what is the first issue of Savage Dragon about? Well, it introduces the character. He gets into a fight with Cutthroat and what is her name? Glowbug.
Glowbug.
Glowbug. So it opens up with a big fight scene, which you do, and then it cuts to Dragon's origin, quote unquote, where Frank finds him in the burning field.
Iconic image after iconic image.
We get the info dump about Dragon not having any memory.
Yep.
Then we get, the introduction to why Chicago is shithole right now. Oh yeah, all the superheroes are getting murdered by the Vicious Circle. Super Patriot is crippled.
Mighty Man is getting old and dies before he can switch.
Right. I think Bobby Bierman gets assassinated.
Yep, beaten to death.
Mighty Man out of commission because his secret identity got revealed.
And Dragon doesn't want to even be on the Force.
No, he's not into it. He doesn't want it. So
Frank, too much burden.
Yep. So Frank sets him up by
at his cousin Fred's warehouse,
which gets attacked by the Vicious Circle, which ultimately results in. Because Dragon intervenes, the warehouse gets bombed by the Vicious Circle, and everybody dies except Dragon, of course.
Yep. Then Dragon he's like, hey, fuck it, dude, I'm on the Force.
Yep, he joins the police force, and there's a whole nother scene here where Dragon joins the police force, meets Alex Wilde, does his little cool flip through the ceiling.
Love that flip.
That is iconic.
Iconic flip.
We'll talk about the flip later.
Oh, yeah.
Gets into a fight, meets fucking Star with his fucking rockin' hair.
Yeah. Love it, dude.
And of course, we find at the end the Vicious Circle is learning about Dragon and his exploits, and they're not going to stand for it. They're going to get him.
And you get this sweet tease. Who are these cool looking bad guys? We don't even get to see who that fellow with the cloak is.
Oh yeah, he's completely masked.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that?
Don't get to see him. He's turned away. Like, uh-oh. It's so good, dude.
So,
it's so good.
What immediately strikes me is that this is actually kind of a long issue. It's like 26 pages long. Or 25 pages long of story.
There's a lot happening in
he packs it in.
Edition.
Yes.
So let's hit the cover real quick, just because it's such an important cover with the orange and red background and the neon pink title.
Mm-hmm.
First brutal issue.
Love it.
Well, this issue had multiple title colors too that coincided with what kind of poster you were going to get inside.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so there was, I don't know what one you're looking at, but there's a pink dragon, the words, but the outside, like the bottom and everything, with I don't know what you would call it, but like the 3D part.
Right.
There's like a blue, a white, I don't know. I forget all the colors, but there's multiple ones.
Well, fortunately, we have a Wikipedia to help us with this. The Wikipedia says there was a pink and blue one, a pink and green one, a pink and white one, and a pink and yellow one. So it's all pink. It's just that
it's magenta. I have to correct you guys. It's killing me.
It's more like salmon.
It's magenta, baby. It's a coloring thing. There's a 4-color process: cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. That's magenta. They just went for
I call it 90s
color.
pink.
All right.
I had to get my favorite one was the green one because the poster in that had a bunch of guys on there that you would you didn't at the time know who they were. And some of them you didn't even see until the issue 70. Do you guys? I don't know if you remember that poster. It was,
No, dude.
Sadly,
like
none of the
pink.
posters are on the Wikipedia.
Mine's pink, and I got no poster.
There's a poster. Oh, hold on. It's got it's kind of got Drag in the front. It's got Mighty Man in the background, and he's got the lightning chest piece, which you would get later on instead of the star.
Okay.
It's either Lightning Bug or Glow Bug.
It's
a lot of the designs.
It's probably like. Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about now. Yeah, that was one of the early ones where Lightning Bug of the Knicks Men was like going to be like a important character.
I think so. I mean, it's got the Rock, and he's drawn weird, like he looks like bricks.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that was the way prototype like Savage Dragon lineup.
Yeah, it's got Maneater and Gator, who like you're seeing it on issue 1, but then you don't actually see them until the Savage World.
Wow.
It's got Shrew, Barbaric, Dart, Rapture. They're all like, most of them look pretty much the same. Some of them have little tweaks, but it was a cool poster. I remember looking at it and be like, oh, I can't wait to see these guys appear. And, you know.
And then
some of them don't, and the ones some do, and they look radically different. But it's still cool.
Well,
so anyway.
That's one of the things, I mean, I can kind of like, parlay, whatever. I can tie that into this thing that, like, we're talking about standouts now. We're at the standout portion. But, like, this letter that he wrote, there was no letters page, of course. This was issue 1. So when you flip to where the letters would be, there's 3 columns of Erik just talking about, Dragon and what it, like, where the character came from and his past and his connection to Dragon and stuff. And this letter is absolutely berserk in retrospect, looking at it, because he goes over what more or less is an outline for the entire series.
Yeah.
For, like, at least up to the Savage World.
He talks about Star, Powerhouse, Shriek, Shrew, Zeke, Deadly
SOS.
Duo, Smasher, Sergeant Marvel. Some of these characters you wouldn't see for tons of issues later.
Dude, and it's funny because it's like, again, it's just like, he talks about things like Flash Mercury and, Dragon and William Johnson, like, it's just, I don't know, it blows my mind. And he says he's going to, like, reinterpret and use stuff, but, like, it is crazy when you go back and you look at this letter, like, how much of that stuff remained.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. It's very cool. Very standout to me.
The cover is so 90s though. It's funny. Like
the
font looks so like amateur now. The intense action from Erik Larsen.
Well, even like that first brutal issue.
Yeah.
Like brutal issue, but like the font is in no way like, it's not trying to be brutal.
Yeah. I mean, the logo has stand the test of time. It's a great logo, the Savage Dragon logo. He's tweaked it a little bit, make it smaller and
take that little "the" out.
Yeah, the is no longer there, but I don't know. The coloring's a little weird. The way the speed lines are colored, it's so and just the color of like even the what do you want to do for the color? Oh, let's make the dragon hot pink to start off first issue.
So much Dodge tool.
Oh, yeah. The coloring is the thing to comment about for sure. And remember, like, just to put it in context, at the time, competing comic companies were still coloring their shit the old way.
Yeah, this is digitally colored, right?
This is digitally colored. It's so this is some like they're in strange new territory with this, and so you're seeing weird stuff. Like it very much looks like the highlights on Dragon's fin kind of look like maybe somebody like colored in marker, but then or like maybe airbrushed it in Photoshop or something.
Or whatever was used in 1982, because I don't think it was Photoshop.
No, I used to know the name of it, dude. You're right. It was not Photoshop.
I think
something else.
It was probably DOS-based.
I remember there's a documentary I saw, and it was really ugly looking. It was specifically for digital coloring. In fact, you can see it's not like how we do coloring now. They say color separations by Digital Chameleon. It was still done... they still outputted the film. It still outputted the film, I'm pretty sure. But
I think you had to, because that's how it was printed.
I gotta say though, as funny as it is for that intense action from Erik Larsen, as weird as that font looks, like, I think that is part when people homage this cover, because this cover's been homaged like crazy.
Yeah.
I think that font is like, you know, part of it. You gotta homage it.
Absolutely.
You have to enshrine it forever.
First brutal issue.
And it is, I love this, dude. Like, okay, like, I know we're going to dip back to, like, where we were when we got the issue or whatever. Like, what did you guys think when you first saw this cover? Just this fucking badass-looking sharp-toothed motherfucker, like, bursting at, like, the ground exploding underneath him.
You want the truth, Raven?
Uh-oh, lay it on me.
You can't handle the
I
truth.
thought it looked a little dopey. A little ropey. I thought it looked a little edgy.
Edgy. Little did you know that you'd wind up dedicating years of your life.
Who would have thunk it?
Years of your life to this podcast. No, dude, that's awesome. What about you, Craig?
I was all in. I was already a huge Erik Larsen fan. I mean, when Image started, he was my guy. Like, that's I thought, you know, McFarlane was awesome and Liefeld was awesome, you know, the whole Marvel, you know, all those guys were cool, but Larsen is the guy that really got me collecting comics on a weekly to monthly basis.
Right.
I just couldn't wait to see who he would draw next in Spider-Man and stuff like that. I was just all about his art style. So when I saw this coming up, it's funny because it's 1992 when this came out. I'm probably about 15 years old. I'm a freshman or sophomore in high school. And the only, you know, you think about in 1992, there's no internet. I didn't start using the internet until I got into college. Mm-hmm. I didn't use email, internet, and it's just funny when you think about like where the world was at that time. All my news and exposure to Savage Dragon and Image Comics was coming through my comic shop. In whatever publication, whether it was Comic Shop News or, you know, Diamond or whatever, or the posters on my comic shop's wall. And he had this poster, and it's the insert to Savage Dragon 2, which we'll talk about. It's like Dragon with a bunch of graffiti on the wall behind him. And I remember just staring like, oh, man, this is so rad. Like seeing whatever like pictures of Dragon that, you know, coming soon and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I was all aboard. So, I mean, this could have been the worst cover ever, and I would have still been all aboard. I was just so pumped to like read new like Erik Larsen comics.
I was also in that mindset with one different, like, little noticeable difference is that I hadn't been reading Spider-Man. Like, I wasn't really into any, like, Marvel books regularly. Couldn't get access to them. Probably would have been a bigger fan had I had more regular access, but I just didn't have a comic shop near me. And, like, you know, however it was that I, like, came to, you know, have Image on my radar. I mean, it was making the news and everything. But for me, this was like a huge like moment in history. Like this stuff came out, and like again, before I was just like the thinking is that you just, you know, you couldn't make your own shit. It wasn't going to succeed, and it wasn't going to, you know, capture the public's imagination, and it wasn't going to do well or whatever else. And then all of a sudden, here's this news that like, you know, all the top creators break off and do their own thing, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, I want to be in on that. And, of course, speculator market like crazy. Yeah. Like, these were the first new #1 issues in forever, right? So everybody thought this was going to be like, oh, like getting a copy of Superman #1. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, Marvel was coming out with ones, too, like New Warrior. I mean, there was a lot of #1s coming out. They were rebooting Spider-Man and X-Force, and it was just saturated with #1s.
Was it? Back in 92?
Yeah, I mean...
92? Yeah, that was the time.
Yeah, I mean, McFarlane got his adjectiveless Spider-Man. Liefeld, they put him on X-Force. You know, Jim Lee rebooted X-Men with X-Men #1. All these Image guys were getting their... Valentino was doing Guardians of the Galaxy, which was relatively a new series. New Warriors, Ghost Rider.
Don't forget, at this point, Superman was dead. Batman had his back broken. All that stuff had already happened. So, yeah, it was... Oh, no, maybe that wasn't until 93. Never mind.
It was close to around this time.
It was the same rough time period. All that kind of stuff was happening. So, yes, like Superman would spawn like 4 new #1 titles out of that. So, yeah, it was a thing.
Shows you how much I was, like, cued into it. Like, I didn't think they started doing the #1 thing until, like, after Image.
Yeah, now all these Image guys were getting their own ones at Marvel because they saw how much money they could make with them. I mean, how much did X-Men #1 sell with Jim Lee? It was, like, insane. I forget the numbers, but it's, like, probably still holds the record to today.
I'm pretty sure it does. Based
So anyways.
purely on variant covers.
But it blew my balls off when I saw this cover. I was just like, dude, that is a kick-ass looking character. I want to read this shit. And the speed lines, you know, the speed lines in the sky full of speed lines. I was a sucker for it. More than any other thing. Plus, too, like, I was kind of just making my own stuff. Making my own comics about my own characters. And, you know, when I caught wind that Savage Dragon was a creation Erik had when he was a kid, I was just like, of course, dude. I was like, oh, I gotta read this. This is the thing everyone says can never happen. Because that's what people would tell you. People would tell you, you can never do your own. No one wants to read your character like you can never do your own thing. And so, that's why Savage Dragon. That was the one. So I thought Spawn was cool. I thought Wildcats were okay. I liked Youngblood. I was, like, really hot into Youngblood also. But I never was a team book guy, and Savage Dragon was a book about one awesome kick-ass guy. So, yeah, I was into it.
And Youngblood came out before Dragon, and I just remember even at 15 reading Youngblood and being like, I felt kind of ripped off. Like, it looked really cool, but I was like, this is it. Like, this guy's not trying as hard as he could. I'm serious. I really was like, it was just like, even then I remember being like, some of these guys are just kind of phoning some of this shit in.
The only memory I have of Youngblood, seriously, not even shitting you, is I remember Badrock eating cereal. It was Bedrock before he rebooted his name for legal reasons. Yeah. I remember Bedrock eating cereal at the breakfast table and how fucking ridiculous it looked. And I remember that Liefeld had drawn his mom just as smoking hot as any other young person. Like, he made no effort to make his mom look, you know,
like a mom,
like older or anything. And I was just like, why is Bedrock's mom so hot? Like, doesn't make sense. Yeah, so it's literally the only thing I remember about Youngblood is how hot Bedrock's mom was. So, it was good, dude. And,
I was pleasantly surprised, not surprised, because I enjoyed Erik's other adjective-less Spider-Man stories were pretty good, but I just thought his Dragon stories were way better than most of the Image stuff. Like, even just from this miniseries in the first 2 issues, like, even from this first issue, there's so much in there. And yes, it's dated, but I just felt like it was a solid story. It was something I hadn't seen before.
And so much going
dated?
on.
Are you saying Savage Dragon #1 is dated? I'm not sure I agree. I think it's kind of timeless.
I think it holds up, too.
The story-wise, presentation-wise. I mean, Erik's art has evolved significantly since then, but
oh, yeah.
I think overall, that was the big appeal to me when I got into Savage Dragon, is that the older issues I had how do I phrase this? I had lumped them in with a certain group of comics without really, looking into them too closely. And on the actual look-in, I realized this is way more classic looking than the others.
Well, that's it. He just has better. I mean, I hate to say it, but like he had better chops. Like that's the thing is when I had that huge gap where I I was in at the ground floor, but then like very quickly wasn't able to, and then so I went back just out of like, oh, I remember Savage Dragon. Oh, I want to get back into that, and man, it was awesome because even the old shit, like as old as it was at the point that I got back into it, held up. So, I don't know, man. I think it holds up, Craig.
Yeah, well, I mean, the story, I guess what I'm saying is just the overall, like, I guess the design of the characters and stuff like that, but that's like a natural progression.
Yeah, I mean, there's got the belts and the skulls and the...
I love the way that dude looks. I'm sorry.
The big blade arm.
Cutthroat looks like not Cutthroat, Hellraiser looks like he's wearing like something from like a Kiss concert.
Yeah,
Dude,
his codpiece has a zipper. He knows what is up.
It's cool though. I do like that. I do miss like the flashy, like supervillain shit from the early '90s. Like Erik doesn't really do that much anymore.
Not so much Mako's tubes.
No, Mako is funny. Mako, like the modern Mako is definitely better than like.
Yeah,
I think Erik was thinking he needed like a rebreather to be on land. I don't think it works too great.
Oh, maybe I wasn't even thinking that.
That's good.
Yeah, it's like you got a guy with a shark head. You don't need much more to emphasize there.
Spruce him up, yeah. So I know we're going to talk about the trade collection alterations later, but I just want to say, because I read this in the trade first, my experience reading this issue itself is very different than yours might have been, Craig. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing with me. The first thing I see when I open this issue was Burning Field. Now, you might remember a while back we talked about Savage Dragon movie ideas and how you have to start the movie. And I was a dick and was like super dug in my heels and said, you got to start with Burning Field. Got to start with Burning Field. And you were disagreeing, and I couldn't figure out why you were disagreeing. And I think it's because that's not how you experienced the series the first time.
Right.
You don't need that because that's not how you started. How the series started for you. For you, it started with the cutthroat fight.
Yeah.
You went straight to action because that's what Erik's going for here. Erik wants to lead with action.
Yeah, you want to flip that page and you want to be like punched in the eye when you open that.
Agree.
But I think the Burning Field is such a great visual. It tells you, it suggests so much without really telling you anything. It's just such an. And I think and I get this sensation that that's how Erik wanted to start the book, but then he re-kajiggered like everything for the actual issue. Because you needed to lead with action. He felt it was a stronger opening to lead with action in the single issue. But when he got to the collection, he went back to his original vision of do the origin first, then do the action, so on and so forth.
Right.
I gotta say, impressions-wise, like as a kid, flipping this open and seeing red blood, that made a big fucking impression.
Oh, on the double page splash?
Yeah. Like,
oh, yeah.
Boom, red blood, blood in the floor, blood coming out of his face. Just, remember that Comics Code was still in effect. So, Marvel heroes didn't bleed red blood. They bled black blood.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that was some cutting-edge shit. I loved it. I was like, the pools of blood on the floor.
Yeah, it's crazy, too, these first few issues, how much blood and stuff in there, and kind of how Erik reels it back as he's finding his feet and stuff like that with this character. But Dragon bled a shit ton in these early issues.
Blood everywhere, dude. It worked on me, though. Like, as a kid, I was like, oh, yeah, blood.
You know what? It's crazy is like, and a lot of people that haven't read Dragon in a while, they don't like Erik's art style now. And they're like, oh, I used to draw him so much better. And I remember being like, oh, I missed the old way he drew things. And now when I look at this and like, I cringe a little bit about like how Dragon looks and stuff. He's, you know what I mean? It's the very first issue, so obviously there's a lot of things that he's adjusted, but he just looks so small.
Look at his face in the hospital bed. Look, he's just so. It doesn't look like Dragon.
No, it's
in profile like that.
Very Dolph Lundgren a lot of the times. Like,
I think I've heard people say that they see Erik a lot in like a lot of the faces and stuff like that, and I wonder if Erik used a lot of photo reference, like looking in the mirror for like different expressions.
I could see that.
But it's funny. He's got that like that pointy chin kind of look throughout, and he just like Erik's really like just. He's finding his way in these first few issues, and it's just when you look back at it now, it's still. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still fun and great to look at, but it's definitely like you can see a lot of things that get adjusted, starting with the fin, eventually. Yeah. But even the size of them, and even the characters look a lot stiffer.
Yeah. I still think there's something to be said though that the action is just on point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the fighting and stuff from day one was just like boom, like exactly what you would want.
And right off the bat, you get that setup page turn devastation where right after Dragon has fought off Skullface and the other goon whose name I don't know.
Cutthroat?
No, it's not Cutthroat. It's some rando.
The guy with
Basher?
stitches in
Is
his
it
face.
Basher? Oh, he's like a sniper guy. He goes to the jail. I forget his name.
Yeah, he's named later. We'll get it.
But yeah, Dragon fights him off, and Frank's his brother or his cousin? His cousin.
Cousin Fred.
Yeah, cousin Fred. He's terrified because the Vicious Circle's gonna want payback, and immediately you get the Doom, and the whole warehouse blows up, and Dragon drags himself out of the fire because everyone around him is dead but him, and that's the quintessential Dragon moment of everyone around him is dead but him.
Yeah.
That happens to him all the time.
Yeah.
And
that
it's here at the
name is
beginning.
Hardware, by the way.
Hardware.
Sorry.
I just find that fascinating.
Yeah.
Even the guy with the, I just, like, you talk about expressions, Craig, like, even the, and it's so funny how these things just stick out in your mind, but even, like, the Nazi in the hostage situation, like, the expression on that dude's face, I was just like, it's stuck with me, dude, like, all these years, like, just and the giant-ass gun, like, the huge, like, super hand cannon that he has.
Yep.
It's so good, dude. It's over the fucking top.
This issue felt very cinematic because the backgrounds were so detailed. Like, when you looked at Youngblood, it was just like fucking like circles and squares or some bullshit, you know? Like, this was like the backgrounds were so like detailed. You know, you knew what you were looking at. You knew where he was.
Right.
As you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should always know where you are.
Right. You should have a place in
But
reality.
you know, I'm just having like, even with like the bank and like the cash flying all around, it's pretty cool. Like this, it's like you were saying, Raven. Like, you know, this shit wasn't happening in Marvel Comics. You turn that page, that splash page is like a dead like security guard, a cop with his like chest like wide open.
I know, dude.
There's like another cop against the wall with like blood dripping down the wall. He's dead. Like, these guys weren't like your Marvel villains that are just like punching and knocking guys out. These guys were like murderers. They were savage, you know. It's like, you look at that fight, like Dragon grabs like Glowbug jumps on Dragon's back and he just like punches her and then like breaks her nose. It's awesome. You just see the blood splat, and then she's like talking like, I think it's this, or one of them's talking like all weird, like their nose is broken or something. Or is it's like Cutthroat or something after he beats the crap out of him.
You know, he's all struggling because the blood's like, you know, pouring out of his mouth and stuff.
Like, that fight scene is awesome. You know what I mean? It's like punches Glowbug, he headbutts Cutthroat. It's just like a nasty fight. It's not like a typical superhero fight.
And you think about it, because it's funny, like, what we have here basically is a cop character interrupting a bank robbery, which that's the most basic kind of a thing you could possibly ever have in a superhero book, and yet, like, it's just the way it's sold, dude. He sold the shit out of it with the action.
It felt like an R-rated action movie.
It did. When I read this as a kid, it did feel like an action movie. Like, I know that we've said in other like, you know, issues when we're looking at it that we like Dragon was 90s era like badass, but like that's how it felt. Like, when you're reading this, like, you know, this was an action hero. Like, you know, he could be Bruce Willis or Sylvester Stallone or something. Schwarzenegger, only, you know, cooler. Cooler than Schwarzenegger. You know?
Yeah, he, like, the scene in the warehouse, he like grabs Hardware's fingers and just smashes them like in his hand, just crushes all his fingers, and then he pushes his face through the wall.
Right. This was also, too, I want to say that thematically just felt way more bleak. Like, this was, like, way more, like, other superhero worlds. You think about, like, Batman and Superman and shit. I mean, it feels, whether it's consistently that way or not, it feels like they mostly were on top of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, the Vicious Circle are the most dangerous people in Chicago.
Yeah, easy. Like, they're running the show. Like,
yeah, and yet there's also, like, just regular neo-Nazi guys that are just, like, kidnapping people.
Right.
Like, there's a whole bunch of shit going down.
Yeah, Chicago is fucked. Like, that's it. Like, it's just the...
Well, it makes sense. The police are overwhelmed by the super crime, so all the regular crime is given a heads up, leg up as well.
Yeah.
And honestly, going back to 1992, like, you know, you're looking at all these, like, superhero comics, and here comes this, like, the guy just looks like looks like a freak or a monster in a cop uniform. He's the good guy. He's not wearing spandex. I mean, this was before powers and that kind of stuff. This was cutting edge, you know, like, and Erik kind of has said in the past, like, he envisioned Savage Dragon as a mix between, like, a Marvel superhero book and a Vertigo book.
Yep.
Okay.
Which kind of has that feeling in the beginning, you know, before he tested out other types of genres in here. But it really feels like, you know, it's a cop story set in a superhero world, which was something that just wasn't, that was new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Just because Vertigo didn't get really founded till 1993.
Well, I mean, he said that since an interview. I'm not saying he said that was his plan,
Right.
But I think, you know, I've read it.
I mean,
I'll find it somewhere.
Well,
Yeah,
he
he
was
said
like,
he's probably referring to the fact that at the time, Alan Moore and Grant Morrison were doing their own thing on Swamp Thing and Doom Patrol before Vertigo was a thing. So they're proto-Vertigo. So he's kind of riding that sort of, like, serious superhero wave.
yeah, it's got some serious elements mixed with Marvel stuff, mixed with the violence. It's not, you know, for a typical kid, and yet it is. You know, I don't think he had any problem with 12-year-olds picking up his book, but, you know, there might have been plenty of parents that would have.
I think that was.
I loved it.
I think that's the best way to put it. Is that, like, yeah, you said earlier it felt like an R-rated movie. This absolutely felt like some shit that maybe you shouldn't be reading. You know what I mean? Because, like, again, like, they were, like, you know, the neo-Nazis, blood was everywhere, cops were getting killed. Like, yeah.
I mean, later on issues, he's banging chicks and stuff. You know?
Right, yeah. So,
But, you know, I was reading this at 14, I think 15, probably I want to say. So I was already, like, you know, my dad was taking me to R-rated movies and shit. Like, this was kind of like, you know, I hadn't been into it too long, but I was already at that age where, you know, our stuff was like, no big deal. Like, I knew better.
My first R-rated movie was Broken Arrow.
Nice.
Broken
Yeah,
Arrow.
it's not a good one.
Well, I mean, you know. You know what I mean.
It's a really pathetic one, is my point.
What year did Carlito's Way come out?
Carlito's Way?
Yeah. Al Pacino. Gangster movie. 1993. I went to the movies with my dad to see that, so I was probably 15 or 16. I saw American Ninja in the theater. Was that an R-rated movie?
I don't recall American Ninja.
Feels like it would be, though.
I saw The Fly.
Oh, yeah.
With my dad.
Cronenberg.
That was 86. That effed me up big time.
So
That
Dragon
destroyed
was
my
nothing for
childhood.
you.
Yeah.
What were you, like 20?
That's 86. Jesus. I was like all of 9 or 10. Damn. What's wrong with my father?
Craig on the couch with this very special FINcast Retro.
Sorry.
So,
we went too far back.
before we wrap up issue 1, I don't have the actual issue in front of me, sadly. I have not been able to rummage up a copy. Perhaps you two could help me out. Something I want to do going forward is, what's in the back? What kind of house ads are we looking at?
Oh,
right
get
now?
this. Get this. The very back page is pretty freaking funny because this is pre-internet and shit.
Oh, is it the Entertainment This Month?
this is the 1-900 numbers that you can call for comics news.
Oh, the news.
Where can you uncover exclusive inside info about the latest developments in the ever-changing comics world? Call the one instant service used by comics professionals themselves. Comics News. Only 95 cents per minute.
Woof.
Updated twice a week.
What a deal.
And then you can also call, when is that long-awaited comic book event really going to show up at your friendly neighborhood comic shop? Call the instant service used by the comic pros themselves. What's in store? Only $1.99 per call.
Love it, dude.
Oh, wow. So you just call that number and they'll tell you what diamond shipped.
I guess, yeah.
For the low
It's
price,
amazing, though. It's like, this is pre-internet, like...
Well, like the back of my issue, it's got the mail order comics thing.
Yeah, the summer sale.
The summer sale, yeah. Which somehow has, Savage Dragon 3's cover on it. Like there's Badrock and Dragon punching each other up. But, yeah,
75-cent comics, $2 comics, $5 comics.
And I love it. Like, just you look at the titles, Planet of the Apes, Give Me Liberty. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. And there's this huge Malibu thing. I just want to draw this. There's Malibu. Do you have Malibu Does It Again? Protectors, the next big thing?
Yeah. Because this was, don't forget, Image was still an imprint under Malibu for the first bunch of issues.
Yeah, underneath the little dragon graphic in the front interior. Sure enough, there's that Malibu Comics thing.
I'm not going to lie. You know what kept me away from Malibu Comics when I was a kid? It's the dumbest thing ever. I thought the M was the McDonald's M, and they were McDonald's comics.
Get out of here!
That is some kid thinking.
Wow.
It was a yellow.
Like, none of that for me.
Yellow M. What else could it be?
Mac and me. Mm-hmm. No thanks.
Let me also say, talk about how, like a glimpse at the past. Jim, we have an ad for Wizard Comics issue 12.
That many.
Wildcats.
Yeah. Like 12. They've only been around at a year you can assume.
You get a Shadowhawk trading card, a Wolverine promo card, a Jim Lee interview, a Wildcats poster. Wow. There's lots of like those mail order comics ads in throughout though, and that was a big thing at the time. Yeah,
well, that's how you got your comics. You had to mail order them up, man.
So this one on the back cover by American Comics and Entertainment, and the one inside from Entertainment This Month.
And yeah, if you notice, they both are going to this Gainesville, Virginia. Like they're not different. Like they've got
the same P.O. box. What the freak?
Yeah, it's got different names and stuff. It is not different at all. So one last thing I just have to note. This is worth noting because Erik says in his little letters column, announcing another Name the Letters page contest. I have no idea what to name it, so send your suggestions. Also, by the time you read this, I'll have gotten married on May 31st, and my wife and I have gone on our honeymoon in June. This is just to warn you, Savage Dragon 2 might be out a little late.
I think it came out like 3 months after or something.
July to October.
Yep, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, so just saw that.
Fortunately, he made millions of dollars, so it all worked out.
Yeah.
Okay. So Erik is 30 years old when this comes out, I think. Or he was like 29.
20 years from when he first started drawing Savage Dragon, he said.
So I'm looking at the Wikipedia. He was born December 1962. So he's 29 years old.
I've wasted my life. No,
you'll get there, Raven. You'll be as famous someday.
I'll just have to kill someone or something. Kill someone important. Moving right along.
Wait, 1 minute. Jim, how old were you when you picked up Savage Dragon 1?
Well, I would have been 2001 just after I picked up issue 90.
Okay.
So I would have been...
All right, so you were like 10 years.
I was like 19.
Okay.
18, 19. Right, I would have just turned 18 because...
So it was around when issue 70 was around, though, like...
No, issue 90 was the newest
90.
issue. 90.
So he was in the 70.
I picked up 90 in like September or October, and I probably picked up the trade probably a month after that.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So going on 20 years ago now. Holy fucking shit. Thanks for reminding me, Craig. All right, Savage Dragon issue number 2.
Wait a minute.
What?
How old were you, Craig?
I was like 15.
I was 11.
When did you pick yours up, Raven?
In a grocery store.
Came out. Right when it came out.
Oh, right when it came out. Yeah. But you didn't get into the series till much later.
I managed to, however it works, I managed to get this first, second, and third issue, and then I wasn't really able to keep up with that. Like, they quit being in grocery stores. But, yeah, I was able to, because I didn't have a comic shop.
Do you have a barcode on yours? Is yours like a...
Yeah, mine has a barcode on the front.
Ooh, fancy.
Is
Those
it?
are
Where do they put it? Is it above the Intense?
Direct market?
Where's the barcode located?
It's above the Intense Action.
All right, the only place there was space for it.
Yeah, and I should note that, like, I doubt that I have my original stuff. I just have a barcode on that one. My 2 and 3 don't have barcodes. So, yeah. But I remember getting my stuff in a pack. Like, I did, like, beg my mom. Like, oh,
People say supermarkets stopped having comics, like, in the early 90s, but I was buying comics in supermarkets up through, like, 1998. For sure.
They didn't have variety, you know. You can imagine, like, they probably had, like, Superman and Batman and stuff.
I mean, my local drugstores had spinner racks at least that long.
Yeah. We had it at, like, our convenience stores. We had them at the pharmacy. We had them at the supermarket. My mom would go shopping, and I'd just read all the comic books.
Yeah, basically. That's what you do the whole time you were waiting for their prescriptions to get filled.
Now we're free. We're free to go.
All right. What?
I just had to ask.
All right. Savage Dragon number 2. The big number 2. 2's real important. Got to stick that landing.
Second Intense
issue. This cover is a hot mess.
You don't like it?
Look at the fucking logo, dude.
Well, you don't need to see it. You know whose issue this is.
Look, pretty angry about it.
I just can't believe they wanted to show that debris so badly that they made it neon green on yellow. Why? Why would you do this to me?
It was a wild frontier. I do like early Savage Dragon issues had a lot of Zipatone in them.
Wait, where's the Zipatone in this cover? I mean...
Shoulder pads.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. The dark shadow there.
Under Dragon's armpit.
Oh, yeah. A little dot pattern there, too.
See, I'm a sucker for these, little details. The ragged shirt, the debris flying everywhere. And, of course, Super Patriot is a fucking awesome visual.
He's Kool-Aid Man in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I always, I'm, bugged out by, the hand holding Dragon's face and stuff.
Whose hand is that?
Yeah, is that just a regular guy?
That's Gray Man.
An alien.
He's got 5 fingers. Okay.
The way it's shaded, it feels like it's almost meant to be metallic. Like that's what the colorist wanted, even if Erik didn't.
Right.
There's just too much going on there with the color. It's just on that hand that's holding Dragons. What's going on between the hand and that shirt? It's all mixed up with the hand. I don't know.
So many tangents.
You know
how dare he?
I bet this is still solid illustration. I bet if this was recolored, I bet that this shit could hold up.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt. The coloring is just, it's a relic of the times.
Do you guys find it funny? And they did it in issue 1 too, but they were big on making the veins a solid color regardless of what was going on around them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you can see them.
Do you kind of hate that visual? Because I kind of do.
I'm not a fan of veins popping out in general.
They're veiny. If you haven't noticed, there's some Dragon's forearms are veiny as a motherfucker.
He doesn't draw like that anymore. Not one single vein on Malcolm.
Less veiny.
So this issue opens. So just to recap this issue, Dragon's in the sewer. He has a run-in with our good pal Arachnid, for the first time, who is
Awesome.
fucked up.
Again, an
eating people.
awesome debut. Eating children.
Yep.
There's like little skulls and kids hanging
Yeah, dude.
dead.
Again, not a Marvel
Fucking
book.
kidding me?
We get a quick recap on how Ann Stevens named Dragon, which is cute. And then hold on a second.
Frank's super scared.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We don't know why yet. He's just terrified for some reason. Even though everything's kind of going his way because he's finally got Dragon on the force, and we are learning Dragon is really good at shooting things.
Super aiming, by the way.
Very accurate.
Super aiming, the often forgotten dragon power.
So weird. Dragon's got a lot of those things
What? Just powers?
that are weird. Yeah.
He's a perfect being.
The super aim, the ability to like shoot a bullet with his mouth, like he's that powerful, and the aim.
Any super strong guy can eat a bullet. It's just lead. It's soft.
Shoot up, spit out. I also want to say that this has the coloring mistake of Legend.
Which one?
Like Dragon's arm reaching on Frank's when really it's Frank's.
Oh. Oh, I see it. Oh. Goodness.
Yeah, that is a legendary. Talk about iconic and legendary moments.
All right, let me finish recapping this. Oh, yeah. Then we catch up with Super Patriot, who's been cyberized by the Project Rebirth.
Lynn's doing awesome.
We meet Debbie Harris, Dragon's next door neighbor, who's very perky.
Wants to be a slutty buddy.
Very, very perky. You get a killer motorcycle.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Erik can't draw cars, but he did this pretty good.
Goddamn right.
We meet up with we get a great Vicious Circle fight where the Vicious Circle is really fucking evil.
Yes.
A lot of bystanders buy it. And finally, it ends basically... Oh, right. Dragon's getting his ass kicked, and then Super Patriot shows up. Mm-hmm. He helps, quote-unquote, helps Dragon by murdering a bunch of people. Alex,
awesome.
He's going to kill Dragon because he can't recognize friend from foe because Dragon's a freak, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And he's racist. That old man's racist.
Old racist man.
Then, fortunately, Alex shows up, tells Super Patriot that Dragon is a cop. Johnny can't handle it. Gives Dragon an opening to punch him in the head.
Dragon gives the old knuckle defibrillator to the brain.
Ah, yes. And then Dragon bleeds out. And another iconic shot.
Again, awesome. Super iconic.
Yeah.
So, this issue is interesting for a bunch of reasons.
Lay it on us.
Just because the arachnid stuff is just so detailed, so nuts.
Yeah.
He's taking the Spider-Man idea and just dialing it up to about 1 billion.
Do you think it's a metaphor in Marvel Comics when you read like that little exchange?
Absolutely. Impossible not to read it that way.
Absolutely, dude.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, Arachnid is the Spider-Man franchise.
Luring kids into their doom.
He's got the same Spider-Man webbing.
Well, he's got Venom webbing. It comes off the top of his wrists.
Well, I mean, just the way it looks.
Oh, yeah.
Spaghetti webs.
Spaghetti webs, yes.
And even
we get our first Frackazack of the series.
Yeah.
Things getting electrocuted.
Dude, Chris Eliopoulos letterings A+.
So many letterings. So many sound effects.
And this is all when it was done on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the art.
Yep.
All this lettering right on the
Erik
art.
had to mail this stuff away to get it lettered. What a nightmare.
You should see, like, on those, like, choom, like, how Chris grids all that out and stuff. It's amazing.
I mean, hand lettering, it's not
It's
a
so
lost
much
art
work.
because there's still people doing it, but good lord, it is so much work.
Well, I'm just saying, mailing it cross country,
Yeah.
and hoping and praying the postal service doesn't destroy it or lose it.
Mm-hmm.
I have an original piece of art from Superman Savage Dragon with Chris Eliopoulos lettering all over it with, like, gunshots and stuff, and it's got that same, like, that gunfire where it's, like, the same, like, sound effect, like the choom, 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 and you just look at all the pencil lines and how he makes it. It's like, wow, this has got to take some time.
I also want to point out, this is a weird little, but it's worth noting because, I mean, we're looking back, baby. It's a retro cast, but like, you want to look at, this is kind of, oh boy, we're getting in weird technical stuff, but I just got to point it out because I love it. It's a weird art thing, relic of the past. You won't see this these days unless they intend to do it, but look at Super Patriot's face.
Which
when in the very first spread where he's been cyber data rebuilt, right?
Yep.
So you look at his, like, around his nose, like his jawbone, right?
Right.
You notice, if you will, I don't know, Jim, if this is in the digital version, but how it's like lighter dark than the dark around his jawline.
Right.
So again, what that is cyan, yellow, magenta, black. When you don't back K up with other colors, that's when you get that muddy, lighter black, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Because in order to make, like, black, they call it
Oh,
processed
right. Yeah,
black.
yeah. I see it.
Right. In order to get processed black, so that, you know, K black is not overwhelmed by the colors around it, you have to mix a mixture of cyan, yellow, magenta, and black so that it's not overwhelmed. So that's why you have, when you flip through these older comics, like, again, it was still the Wild Frontier. They were still, like, figuring shit out. So
It's the difference between having pure black and having a fill black.
right. And
Why-
again, flip, now knowing that, flip back to, like, Dragon, like, you know, in the sewers. Like, look at the double page spread and, like, look at his shins. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
So, good stuff.
Right,
Love the way he did
yeah,
the lighting
yeah.
effect. Like, yeah, it's just good stuff. And again, it marks the book's place in time. You know what I mean?
But again, another like R-rated horror action. He's in the sewers, like creepy as shit.
Yeah.
You know, this arachnid thing with the dead bodies. He's got this Uzi. He's got a freaking Uzi as a cop.
I like the lens flare effect that he drew.
Oh, off the flashlight?
Yeah,
That's fun.
it's good. Good stuff.
It reads, I'll tell you that much.
You know exactly what you're looking at. Arachnid's design, I think, still holds up.
Yeah. It's cool. I love all the little skinny arms and shit.
So, question for you fellas. It's called Project Born Again. Is it literally the name? Or not Project Born Again. You got Born Again Patriot. But then Cyber Data, that is Cyber Force, correct?
Yes, it's
yeah.
directly.
That's when they were trying.
Yeah.
They were trying to connect all the little universes, I guess, or whatever, the little titles.
Right, just checking. So, just curious. And Jim, you are right. That motorcycle is fucking bad to the bone, dude.
I wonder how hard that was to draw, and why he doesn't do it anymore.
Well, there's a number of things going in artistically in this issue. Like, for instance, take a look at Dragon's face on the very last sequence where he's, like, next to the page, like where he's laying in his fins bent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That feels photo referenced, kind of, like the face-ish, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is awesome. Like, it's just a great visual.
Yeah, I love like the page with the motorcycle and playing with all the shadows. Like
Yeah.
the panel straight below the motorcycle
Mm-hmm.
with the glasses looks awesome.
It's so badass, dude.
And how about the face on the scene where he's like, I love this where he's like shooting the gun at the target, and I love the sound effect because it's like blam 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 blam, click click click, like that's so cool. But then like when Frank's like, how the hell did you do that? And he's getting all frustrated because he doesn't know,
Right.
and it's like he's like looks like he's almost ready to cry. He's like all frustrated.
so
That last panel
Yeah.
is cool.
He's so sad. Sad dragon.
He's flipped out.
Yeah, he's
Can't
freaked
handle not knowing.
himself out.
I still love that little hand dragon. What the hell was that colorist thing? Like, did he use like... For the listener, if you have your copy of Savage Dragon 2, I know this is hard sometimes, you're not following along, but the page where Dragon's at the shooting range in the police department, there's like the third panel down is an obvious colorist mistake that Raven brought up, but it looks so ridiculous that you wonder how the colorist could have possibly thought that's what Erik was going for.
Because Dragon is clearly in the foreground. Like, he's clearly much bigger. And even if he wasn't in the foreground, why would his hand be wrapped around Frank's neck?
Okay, I was checking. It did get corrected in the collection.
Okay.
They did figure that out eventually.
Legendary.
Yeah, looks.
But that's real good. I like that.
Yeah.
It's classic. I love it. Yeah, and mine has a poster in the middle. It's the dragon in front of all the graffiti.
Yeah, that poster was like a bigger version on my comic shop's wall.
Okay.
That was like Savage Dragon, whatever miniseries coming soon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that up there for a while, but I remember before it came out, just looking at that, being like, I can't wait.
Right. It's awesome. I will say that's the thing, is that like these early issues do an amazing job of just selling badass.
He's like jumping over the hood of the cop car. It's like, that's awesome.
Even like the exploding, with like all the people exploding behind him, is like, you monsters! And like, just like there's the speed lines, just all the silhouettes of like, I guess, corpses or maybe hurt people. Just, I don't know. This just sells that badass all the way around. Very acrobatic dragon in his early days.
Yep.
But it was like such an action movie though, with like the quips and stuff like that, and like that scene he just throws his gun back at the cops.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm just gonna go in and deal with this. Jumps in. Hellraiser's face looks so freaking evil. Just throws a ton of people at him.
It's good.
I mean, that's that is just how you deal with a hero, is just start murdering people. They can't deal.
They got sound effects for bodies hitting the ground. It's like thuck, whomp, wud, thud, wood. It's horrible.
Horrible is the right phrase.
It's also worth noting, I think, too, that, like, kind of like letters felt. Like, I think these lettering, you want to say this lettering felt kind of, like, different, too. I don't think that, like, they were doing a shit ton of, like, crazy lettering like this at the time.
What, you mean like the sound effects?
I mean, like, all of it. Like, for instance, Dragon, when he's trying to catch the people that have been thrown at him.
Right. Oh, right. With his words.
Yeah, look at, like, run for your lives is in color.
Yeah.
And then stop! Like, it's, like, seems more expressive. Even, like, Hellraiser's like, you wouldn't hurt me, Mr. Dragon. Like, he's clearly doing a voice.
Yeah.
Like a little kid voice, and it's in a different font and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel, maybe I'm wrong, I really wasn't reading a lot of Marvel and DC at the time, but I just feel like that was something, like a little extra oomph. Because I know, like, Spawn was winning awards for its lettering.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like, Dragon here, these issues, is doing, like, there's crazy lettering stuff all over the place, man.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it was mimicking a lot of, what's-his-name stuff on Thor, who later was, came on to Savage Dragon. Who was the letterer? That famous letterer. God. I wish I'd did my research.
What's his name? No,
Sorry, who are you trying to think of?
Tom Orzechowski.
Oh, right.
So I think Chris Eliopoulos kind of uses a lot of Tom's style. I could be wrong. Chris might want to strangle me if he hears me say this, but I think that he he took a lot from him as well. And if you look at a lot of the Thor stuff that Tom did back in the day, he was doing some stuff not to this extreme.
Wasn't that John Workman?
Workman was a letterer, but Tom Orzechowski is who I'm thinking of.
Okay. Well,
I believe
I know Orzechowski because he's lettering that new Green Lantern series, which has really impressive lettering, by the way.
You wouldn't say that because that would date things.
Yeah, you're right. Timeless. These retro reviews should be timeless.
Well, I guess maybe... Well, yeah, no, he did Thor. Yeah, he did a whole bunch.
Yeah, okay.
But if you go back and look at a lot of his lettering, he's done stuff like that. Like, even, like, the wavy lettering, like you were saying, Raven, with the You Wouldn't Hurt Me, Mr. Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's done that stuff, too. But but definitely like one of the best, and I think Chris was really starting to show his chops with some of this stuff, and Chris went on to really become one of the best as well.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. You read this, you know why. It's a lettering feast.
It's such a big part of the art, and always has been in Savage Dragon.
So we do get reintroduced to Super Patriot in his new mechanical form, and he has a lot of moving parts back in the day.
Yeah, there's very much like almost like a Transformer style, like it's a symbol.
Clack.
Sorry, what was that, Craig?
The click clack whir stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and then go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, it just seems like he's a lot more going on when he was like making his weapons, especially. But
then Dave Johnson took him over on the mini and really screwed Erik over, because Dave Johnson took it a whole nother level, which was amazing. So Erik still kind of has like the tube guns and stuff like that, and he does have like the pieces coming out. But, we'll get to that Super Patriot on another retro review.
Yep.
But you look at those issues and what Dave did, and it was like, oh man, for Erik, he had to like follow up with that.
Super Patriot should use his dick laser more often.
I bet you that part's organic.
It just depends on what you drink.
He has to make kids. He's got his kids.
But,
killer issue.
Yeah, it's just so
fantastic.
crazy to have your second issue end with your main character dead on the floor. Such a bold move.
It's awesome.
What did people think when they saw this?
I thought it was over at issue 2.
Oh,
it was a good run. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought it was cool that here's this comic where, the main character can totally get his shit fucked. Like, he did not just, conquer the bad guys. They absolutely conquered him.
Well, and don't forget, we didn't know either that he
didn't.
had this ability to regenerate or anything.
Exactly.
And it was just like, how the hell is he going to get out of this one?
How does he get out of this one?
Alex is there selling it like he's fucking, about to die.
Because she doesn't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't know.
It's a great scene, though. It's like just all messed up people everywhere, dead villains. I mean, Super Patriot coming out and just wasting that one villain was like, holy crap, that Basher guy.
Yeah.
We barely even knew him.
Didn't Basher, wasn't he part of the show? He wasn't, was he? Feels like he was. It feels like
I don't remember.
They used him in the cartoon, but
He appeared in one panel in issue 1, and now he's gone.
yeah, throwaway dork.
He the first. Wait, no. I guess he. Wait,
Throwaway dork is gone
he,
too.
Is he the first goon death? I think he was.
I think he is too.
I don't think anyone died in the first issue.
Nope.
He just got beat up real bad.
And it is funny too, just a different dragon, I suppose, because he's like, "No, stop! You're killing them."
Well,
then,
Dragon's always been against cold-blooded murder.
Yeah.
He's always been kind of negative on it. I mean, he'll kill people, but he's a cop.
Right.
He's
Honestly,
got the authority.
Makes me laugh that he's just chewing up dimes and spitting his tooth through someone's forehead or something.
3 issues later, he's got chainsaws chasing the shrew.
Right. Exactly.
And he's okay. He's the shrew. He'll shrug it off. No big deal.
And just real quick, is Rose the reporter? Is she from Spawn? She is.
I believe so. The Asian.
I think she is. This is more Image world building where they were all still part of that.
Yep.
Interesting. I did wonder if she was somebody, because Erik does do the TV talking head sometimes.
I am 99% positive that when I saw the TV tube panel and I saw her little reporter microphone there, I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she's from Spawn.
This is pretty funny. That was kind of like an Image trope back in the day, of having the reporters on the TV all the time to sum up everything.
Got to remind you, it's the 90s.
Yeah, we were talking about Big Bang, our last episode.
No, we weren't.
Yeah, don't date
that's
us.
True.
Timeless.
But when we were talking about Big Bang at one point, there was an issue of Big Bang with the hero going through each different age of comics. In the 90s, he was all like extremed out.
Right.
And they made it a point to have like a page with just like half the page, like having the news reporter on TV, like summing up like everything.
I think that was the badge. Like
I think you're right.
The history of the badge, and it's like all these different variations.
Such a great.
There's a whole. There's a Watchmen
I think it was Mr.
section.
US actually.
Yeah, you're
Mr.
right.
US.
It is Mr. US.
Well, if you want something pretty 90s, how about the fact that Dragon takes off, like he leaves Debbie because his beeper goes off? Hold on, that's my beeper. He's got to go.
The numbers spell boobs. Sorry.
Do they?
No,
Do they?
No, kids today wouldn't understand.
Okay.
Spelling boobs with numbers.
80085, baby.
Boobs.
Talk about dating yourself.
So, house ads. What do you got for house ads?
Same Protectors ad again for Malibu. Malibu does it again.
Again.
I got an ad for the bout to knock the other guy out. Savage
What's
Dragon
that?
versus Savage Megaton Man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's already an ad for that?
Already an ad.
Yep.
Because that doesn't come out for another 6 months,
Yeah.
I think.
Still got one. The letters page, Jim. Do you have the letters page?
I do not have the letters page, sadly.
It is a feast. Craig, agree with me or not? It is a
Oh, the art?
yeah, a feast
Absolutely.
of oogie dragons.
Yeah.
Oogie dragons? Oh, you mean people drawing dragon?
Mm-hmm.
With the only thing to go on is that intense action cover.
Yep.
With
But interestingly, he's running a name the letters column contest, and yet we have a fin mail right there. Isn't
A
it?
what?
Isn't like on the guide, like Kurt Metzger has a dragon carrying the giant.
Oh, yeah.
It says fin mail right there. Isn't
Instead
that
of
what it
fin.
ended up being?
It's, yeah, I guess so. No, it's, isn't it the Fanatics or something?
I haven't looked at a letter page in a while.
Fanatics. Oh, and I'm too far away from my issue. I can't reach. Never
God
mind.
damn
It
it.
doesn't matter. I got an ad for Cyberforce. How about you, Craig?
I think I have all the same ads that you do, Raven, but yes, there's an ad for Wildcat, Cyberforce.
The Protectors.
Yeah. I think that's it for the ads, right? Is there any other ads in here?
No, that's it. That's all.
Dude,
I
it's
got.
funny. The art, though, on the fan page, it's all, like, Savage Dragon in, like, his wife beater.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they only had that, like, one image to go off of.
Right, everyone put him in the wife beater. I do think it's interesting. It says, special thanks to fabulous Fabian Nicieza for helping design the new, improved Super Patriot. Wonder what his contributions were.
Because I remember correctly, Super Patriot's design, Erik had done that for wasn't he going to pitch it as like a Spider-Man character?
No, it was X-Force.
X-Force. Okay.
Yeah,
So him and Fabian created kind of the character.
Oh, right, because he would have been working with Fabian on
For a
X-Force pitch.
yeah,
that
they
makes
were making
sense.
a pitch, and he still has that. He posts that picture up every once in a while of like, it's got Super Patriot, which is like, I don't know, Soldier X or something like
Right.
that. He doesn't have the flag, and it's got Horridus.
Horridus.
It's got
yeah.
Polaris, I think,
And Havoc.
and Havoc or something. Yeah, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I'm glad that this didn't go through. Otherwise,
Yeah.
he wouldn't own Horridus or whatever."
Super Patriot.
Yeah, Super Patriot was color different.
A lot different, if I recall.
I think he had an anarchy symbol on his chest, too.
By the way, the letters page is it's called Fanatic.
Wait, he was called
Fanatics.
Soldier X? Oh no, I'm
Fanatics.
thinking of Major X. Never mind. I think Marvel used Soldier X for something at some point.
Yeah, there was also kind of like a prototype Super Patriot and the adjectiveless Spider-Man that Erik drew a few issues for.
Right.
And I forget what his name was in that, but anyway.
Interesting letter. Will the Image team plan a huge crossover?
Unfortunately.
People already hungry for it. I did also want to say, in the letters page, look at let me see. Is this the one that talks about all the things Erik's given away? It's so funny because he's giving these things away. Oh yeah, okay. He says name the letters page contest. Listen to what you win if you name the letters page. He says it's gotten a huge response and will be printing the first ongoing Savage Dragon comic due out in early '93. Winner gets signed copies of the miniseries, including all 4 versions of number 1, plus signed Megaton 2-2-4, and a signed Savage Dragon promo poster. Can you imagine that Megaton 3?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Like signed. I don't know. Just saying. Hope someone held on to it, baby. Hope someone held on to it.
So, that's Savage Dragon 1 and 2.
I'd say we're done.
Our very first retro review episode. If you guys,
I had a good time.
Yeah.
It was fun.
If you guys like this, send us an email. Tell us. SavageFINcast at gmail.com.
Send us your thoughts on the issue. Let us know what you thought.
We have a roadmap of stuff we're going to cover, but if there's anything like specific you'd like to see us cover, let us know and we'll consider it. We're still kind of working the format out. Like the plan is to work through stuff chronologically, so we will get to stuff as it comes up in the timeline. But if you've got another suggestion, we're open for ideas.
And if you didn't like it, keep it to your fucking self.
Especially tell us how much you don't like Raven.
I was a little hesitant with reviewing the first miniseries because I feel like every podcast that reviews Savage Dragon feels the need to review the first miniseries.
I think it's important we get through it.
But I like doing it. I'm glad that we didn't kind of focus on page by page and just talked about like there was a lot of things I just forgot about, and just rereading it. It was kind of a cool trip down memory lane and just thinking about that time of when it came out. It was,
back in the 90s.
Long ass time ago.
What video game systems were out in '92? Super Nintendo, surely, right?
I think Super Nintendo launched in Christmas '92.
Christmas '92, baby.
Jesus.
Yeah, think about that. Because
I'm saying Jesus because Jim knew off the top of his head within like 3 seconds flat.
No, well, it's impressive. Here's the thing. Well, I mean, that is impressive, Jim. But the
thing...
it
was August 91, so it's been out a year.
So it was out, this is the thing that I never forget, is that Street Fighter is almost... It's like a year or 2 younger than Savage Dragon. And Sonic the Hedgehog is like maybe 1 or 2 years younger than Savage Dragon. So, I knew it was right in that sweet spot when the
Street Fighter 2 came out in 91.
Yeah, just maybe a year difference or something. But yeah, there you go. I just want
it's a snapshot in time.
We're gonna take you back to the past.
Raven measures everything in console
generations.
Technology, it's technology.
No, not technology, just video games.
Yeah.
It's true.
In 1991, I still had my NES. I was still playing Mega Man. I didn't get a Super Nintendo. I went straight to N64 in 96.
That was not a good leap for you.
Oh, you fool. You craven fool. The N64 is the most amazing console of all time.
I suppose we'd better
stop.
Okay.
All right, we won't get it off topic on the video game chat.
I was going to say I suppose we'd better stop. But thank you, fellas. Thank you, listeners.
Thanks for listening.
Good talking to you.